what I wanted to talk about today was autism. And self diagnosis is not only completely valid, I believe that most recently diagnosed adults, especially adult females, are self diagnosed and don't have an official diagnosis. So if you were wondering about it, if you're interested in autism, or if basically if you've been wondering if you're autistic, the most common thread that I've found amongst autistic people is the fact that we feel so different from other people our entire lives. We know we're the other. We know we're just obviously having a harder time than everybody else seems to be having. And there's a lot of discomfort existing as ourselves inside our own bodies and just existing in the world. This this place was not made for us. They don't give a shit about us. The good news, though, is that once you figure out you're autistic, you have your tribe. And one way to figure out if you're autistic is to just watch videos of other autistic people, TikTok, search other autistic people. There's I I was really upset when I first thought I was autistic because I didn't know of another person who was like me who was autistic. So at that point, it became a question of how could I be autistic? I There's no one else like me who's ever that I know of that's autistic. So like, how could I even be autistic? And that's like, there's harm in that. There's harm in thinking that because you're so different than all the other representations you've seen, which largely have been written by white men. Even like the female versions and stuff like that. And a lot of the good characters, it says here for the booze, um, but it has ghosts on it. The best female characters that have autism to me weren't written as autistic, they just are autistic. Like Jessica Day from New Girl. People were saying that she's not an ENFJ because she's got all the like she has all these quirks, right? But it's like she's autistic. That's the reason why she is the way she is. And it may be because Zoe Deschanel is autistic. And the thing is that once you find out you're autistic and you figure out what it means to be autistic, there's a sense of pride that comes with it because you realize a lot of us, because we are, okay, this is going to suck to find out. You have been, if you're autistic and you're just figuring this out, you've been a marginalized group your whole life, and that's why it's been so hard for you. And that's why it feels like you don't have privilege, because privilege isn't something you have, it's the lack of negative cards against you. So I have the negative card that I am a female. I'm not inherently male, which is inherently the best thing to be in our culture, right? So I have that card against me. So I don't have the privilege of being a man. I have that card against me. And so the reason why autistic people tend to be just better people is because we know what it's like to be in a lower class than the standard. We know what it's like to be treated as the other. And studies show when people are placed in a setting where there's one autistic person, everyone knows that they're different and place them as the other. Like they are placed as a different other type of person in the minds of the regular, like um I guess neurotypical people, because I think that's what they go for. They go for neurotypical people and then one autistic person, and they know that we know. Once you realize you're autistic and you learn more and more about autism, you can see when other people are autistic. You just see people and you're just like, damn, that person's autistic. Like, you can just tell when people have been struggling their whole life with the same shit that you've been struggling with. And it's kind of like second nature. It's like my I wish my gaydar was this good. You know what I mean? That would be great if my gaydar, my autism radar is just like on point. Uh, so it's it's it sucks that we're just treated like shit, but at the same time, that's why we have such high empathy, and that's why we are more comfortable with a wider range of friends who are also neurodivergent. Because really, that's what we thrive with. We thrive with other neurodivergent people because we're all kind of dealing with the same issues. We all have those extra cards against us. Like, basically, autism is my brain and parts of my body are different enough that there's a word for it. And oh, my back hurts so bad. Um, Unfortunately, in our society, you have to get legally diagnosed if you want to get services. But I think a lot of professional work environments don't necessarily need a formal diagnosis. You just don't say like, "Well, I'm not technically diagnosed." You just don't bring it up. You say like, "I'm autistic and I need service, or I need, you know, to know what accommodations you have for autistic people." And I'm assuming at least some people will give you the benefit of the doubt and not ask you for a certificate stating that you're autistic, because no one pretends they're autistic to get the benefits, because the benefits are literally just dumb shit that we need to help us not fall behind. Like, we just need a little bit of extra help to not suck, okay? Because this world was not made for us. We're not made to, like, oh, is that oh, it's my cat. I thought it was a dog. He's so cute.